upon a time, there was an old man and an old woman. They had been married for a long time, and they were still very much in love. They lived together in a small house, on a small farm, in a big wood with a river running right through it. Now one day, that old man decided to go for a walk. And so he said to his wife, "Oh, I love ya." And he kissed her on the cheek. And he walked out of the house and down the stairs and through the garden gate into the woods. And as he was walking toward the river, he began to hear the sounds of splashing and cries for help. So he rushed down to the water's edge and saw that there was a man drowning in the water. So as quickly as he could, he found a big, strong branch, and he held it out over the water, and he was able to pull the man to safety. And the man got up out of the water. He was drenched, he was exhausted, but he was thankful. And he said to the man, "Thank you for saving my life. Please, come to my house for lunch." Well, the old man had never turned down free food, and he wasn't about to start now. And so, the man who had been drowning and the old man began to walk towards the house of the man who had been drowning. And it was a big house. And that man brought the old man into the house and sat him down and fed him the richest lunch the old man had ever had. And when the lunch was over, the man who had been drowning, he happened to be a wealthy merchant. And so he went back into his money room and he got a big chunk of gold. And he gave it to the old man. And the old man said, "Oh, well, thank you. And then he took that big chunk of gold and he began his walk back to home and his wife. When suddenly he came across a man on a horse. And the man on a horse took one look at that big chunk of gold, and he wanted it all for himself. Now the man on the horse knew that the chunk of gold was more valuable than his horse, so he hoped to trick the old man. He said, "Old man, where did you get that chunk of gold?" And the old man said, "Oh, well, I traded the chunk of gold. I saved a man's life, and in exchange, he gave me this chunk of gold." And the man on the horse said, "Well, that chunk of gold is not very shiny. No one's really going to want it. How about I'll take it off of your hands. You give me that piece of gold. I'll give you this magnificent horse." And the old man, he thought for a moment. He thought of how much his wife loved horses, but had never had a horse of her own. And so, with that thought in mind, the old man said, "Oh, well, that sounds like a good trade." And so he gave the chunk of gold in exchange for the horse. And he took the horse by the reins, and he continued on his walk back home and to his wife. When suddenly he came across a cowherd out with his cows. And the cowherd took one look at that horse and wanted it for himself. Now he knew that that horse was more valuable than any of the cows that he had. So he hoped to trick the old man. So the cowherd said, "Old man, where'd you get that horse?" And the old man said, "Oh, well, I traded a chunk of gold for this horse." And the cowherd said, "That's a feeble horse. No one's going to want to ride it. How about I'll take that horse off your hands. In exchange, I'll give you one of my cows. How about that? And the old man said, let me think for a moment. The old man thought, and he remembered all the times that him and his wife would make steamed milk, hot cocoa, and they'd sit out on their porch and they'd talk long into the night, and it was one of his favorite things to do with his wife. And so with that thought in mind, he said, oh, well, that sounds like a good trade. And so he traded the horse for the cow, and he continued on his walk home. When suddenly he came across a shepherdess out with her sheep. Now that shepherdess took one look at that cow. She wanted it for herself. She knew that that cow was more valuable than any of the sheep that she had, so she hoped to trick the old man. And so she said, hey old man, where'd you get that cow? And the old man said, oh, well, I traded a horse for this cow. And the shepherdess said, oh, well, you know what? That cow doesn't look like it's going to give you any milk. And if it gives you milk, it's going to give you sour milk. And that's not going to taste very good. And who wants a cow like that, really? How about I'll take that cow off your hands. I'll give you one of my woolliest sheep. How about that? And the old man thought for a moment. And he remembered all the cold winter's night that him and his wife would pull a thick, warm blanket up over them. And they would sit and they would snuggle. And he loved snuggling with his wife. And so it was with that thought in mind that he said, oh yeah, that's a good trade, that is. And so he traded the cow for a sheep. And he took the sheep by a rope and he continued his walk back home to his wife. When suddenly he came across a peddler with a pack full of trinkets. And that peddler took one look at that sheep and he wanted it all for himself. Now he knew that that sheep was more valuable than anything he had in his backpack. But he hoped to trick the old man. And so he said, hey, old man, where'd you get that sheep? And the old man, he said, oh, well, I traded a cow for this sheep. And the peddler said, well, that sheep, it's got bald spots on it. It's all scraggly. You're not going to get any good wool out of that sheep. I'll take that sheep off your hands, and in exchange, I'll let you have anything from my backpack. How about that? And so the old man took a look through the pack, and he found a strong, straight sewing needle. And he thought for a moment. He remembered how much his wife loved to sew, but she never had a good sewing needle. And how happy she would be to have a strong, straight sewing needle. And so it's with that thought in mind that the old man said, oh, yep, that's a good trade. And so the old man traded the sheep for the sewing needle. And he put that sewing needle right into his vest pocket, and he continued on his way home. He was so excited to go in and show his wife the strong, straight sewing needle. He went right up to that garden gate and he tried to open it, but it was stuck. So he climbed over. But as he climbed over, that sewing needle, bing, went right into the grass. No! Yeah, right into the grass. And so the old man got down on his hands and his knees and he frantically searched through the grass. Oh, I lost it. His wife came out. Dear, what are you looking for in the grass? Oh, dear. I have had quite a day. I saved a man's life who was drowning in the river, and in exchange, he gave me a chunk of gold. A chunk of gold? You're looking for a chunk of gold in the grass? Oh, that's fantastic! Oh,
no. Oh, no, no. I'm not looking for a chunk of gold. I traded that chunk of gold for a horse because I know how much you love horses. Oh, great. You traded a chunk of gold for a horse because you know I love horses. That was so nice of you. Are you looking for the horse in the grass? Oh, no. You see, I traded that horse for a cow because I love making steamed hot milk cocoa with you and sitting out on the porch and talking. It's my favorite. Oh, you traded a chunk of gold for a horse for a cow because you like having hot cocoa with me. How kind. Is it the cow that you lost in the grass? Oh, no, no, no. You see, I traded the cow for a sheep because I love snuggling with you. You traded a chunk of gold for a cow, for a chunk of gold for a horse, for a cow, for a sheep, because you like snuggling with me? Oh, well, I like snuggling with you too, my dear. Is it the sheep that you lost in the grass? No. Oh, no, no. You see, I traded the sheep for a sewing needle because I know you love sewing and you don't have a good sewing needle. Oh. You traded a chunk of gold for a horse, for a cow, for a sheep, for a sewing needle because you were thinking of me and how much I love sewing. That's so sweet of you, my dear. And with that, the old woman went down and got on her hands and knees and helped the old man search in the grass until they found the sewing needle. And when they found it, the old woman took in her hands the hands of the old man, and she said, "My dear, you don't make very good business trades, but I love you, and I for the world." The end.